This problem is much bigger than anybody actually appreciates, and I think in the past people have assumed that this is something that goes on in perhaps a few northern towns or cities. It's not.
Sexual exploitation is described as a situation where a child or young person receives something in exchange for performing sexual favours. Whether carried out online, one-on-one, or by gangs trawling the streets, the effects on young people of grooming and exploitation can be devastating.
About 8 years ago, we had some very high-profile tragic cases in Lancashire involving sexual exploitation. When we were investigating those, it opened our eyes to what was previously a hidden problem. This problem is across all of Lancashire. It involves some of our most vulnerable young people and some of the most persistent sex offenders that we have to deal with. Success for us would look like long-term that young people understand the risks of sexual exploitation. Professionals who work with them, parents, families and the young people themselves are well educated about some of the risks of sexual exploitation. And secondly, that offenders who think they can get away with exploiting, raping, grooming vulnerable young people in Lancashire understand that that won't be tolerated and they will go to prison for it.
I think it's important not only those who work with children but those who live alongside children are aware of some of the risks that now exist for children living in this society. I don't think Lancashire is any less safe than it ever was, but I do think there are different risks and challenges for young people growing up. And I think it's important that we all, as Lancashire residents, understand what some of those risks are and take a personal responsibility when we have concerns for children, and particularly where we think that children may be at risk, to come forward and to speak to professionals. There is a real strong commitment in Lancashire, one of the real privileges, I would say, of working in Lancashire, to partnership working and to not shy away from what is a really difficult and sensitive issue. So we're heavily committed as partners to work together to reduce the risks for children and young people by going into schools and talking about this, to build young people's resilience and awareness, to protect themselves and to feel confident about talking about child sexual exploitation.
Some of the obvious signs that I would say that I've come across with young people is a change in appearance of a young person. They will become more secretive around their online activity, the use of the mobile phone. There might be issues at school where they start to truant or miss half a day. They might start hanging around with new friends, older friends. It may well be, it may well be that a parent might see the child being dropped off at home, outside home, in a car. Who are them people? These are the kind of signs that people should be looking out for.
I was 13 years old, I just turned 13, and I'd met this guy off the internet, and he told me he was a lot younger than he was, and we got in a relationship and we was together for about 7-8 months or something, and he'd been sexually abusing me and stuff. I understood everything. It's just, I think I was just looking for excuses to make him not seem like a bad guy. I was always oh, maybe he just really liked me, and maybe he just pretended to be young because he knew that I wouldn't get with him if he was old, and maybe he actually did fall in love with me. Maybe he's not a paedophile and all this stuff, and maybe it was just a one-off.
I started when I was about 10 years old and carried on till I was about 13. I was talking to a whole load of guys online, and I thought they were my friends, but they were just taking advantage of me. One of the guys I thought we were in love, and he was really nice to me, and we talked every single day. He asked me to take pictures of myself either naked or in my underwear and get me to do stuff on webcam. and he'd get really angry if I said that I didn't want to do it, and he'd like threaten to leave, and I didn't want him to leave because I really liked him.
Lancashire, over 80% of our referrals of offenders are white and are usually acting alone. But we do see in some areas of our county a disproportionate number of Asian Pakistani men committing these offences, and we also see where group and gang related offences take place, we also see a predominance of Asian Pakistani offending taking place. So again, our message is quite clear that we recognise that offenders come from all walks of life, no matter who they are, no matter what profession they're in. If you're offending and abusing children, we will seek to target them, protect the victim, to support the family, and also to target offenders. It really starts at the beginning of understanding the piece of the information and then determining what intervention is required. And a multi-agency safeguarding hub allows us to do that, allows us to do it in a timely way, because we've got people there sharing information, within minutes, within hours, and determining what the most appropriate intervention is required, both to protect the victim, to support the family, and also to target offenders.